All right, what's popping, guys? I'm gonna react to a video with David. It's a recent update in court, so go ahead and watch it. Let me know what you guys think.
Okay, folks, so I just got out the courthouse once again at the David trial, here outside with the press and the media. It's a bright day today, I'm not going to lie, I'm very, very bright. I'm getting cooked by the sun right now, but it was a very, very interesting update today. And to be honest with you, I feel like this is actually the best date that I've seen him have in the court. I would say he looked quite confident, he looked quite happy, but there were some very strange things that went on that I kind of thought, I don't know if he was having a good day in court, so I'm going to give you an update. I made notes on everything. And it was super interesting. So I would say, I feel like David looked like he was in actually super good spirits today. I'm not going to lie to you. He looked like he was in super good spirits. He actually looked like he was feeling quite positive. What was really weird was that we all lined up and we all got into the courtroom. And I would say both lawyers, so Beth Silverman, the DA, and David's lawyer, Blair Burke, they had a private conference with the judge that we later found out was sealed. They had a long conversation. And it was to the point where I see the DA, Beth Silverman, actually come back out of the private chambers, come and get some of her notes and go back in. So whatever was going on that was sealed was something very serious. And what I think is really interesting was that when they came back, it was kind of like, yeah, we're not really going to say much in the court today. We're going to save it for another day. But I think it was like something where David was having some kind of win or something positive. What?
Oh man, he's probably gonna get out there. They probably got some kind of alibi or something stating that he was not there the time that it happened or something. Who knows, man? But they got something, so there's a chance this guy might could get out, man. I've been hearing about this for a while, so we'll see.
What happened was they went and had their meeting. They came back. They said, look, we just had a sealed meeting. We can't tell you what it was. They're agreeing for the reason, whatever the reason for that meeting was sealed. So that was top secret in itself. And they basically said, look, we're going to stay the preliminary hearing that we were supposed to have today to, I believe, July the 21st. That would be the full preliminary hearing beyond the status hearing. But there was rumors that today they were going to be discussing some really big stuff. I heard originally that they were actually intending to discuss the potential of the death penalty being on the table, this 40
death penalty.
terabytes of data, illegal videos, all of that stuff. We didn't end up hearing any of that get discussed today because they had some kind of secret meeting that everybody agreed should have been sealed. So it must have been something explosive.
A secret meeting, a secret society.
But what was really interesting was that when they came back to talk about that situation, what we then found out that was very fascinating was that essentially Beth Silverman, okay, the DA, was basically said, I'm happy to agree to the July 21st preliminary hearing, but I need to check availability with my witness. So whatever it is that they were sealing that they were talking about, it probably had something to do with the fact that they're going to bring a witness into court on July the 21st. And Beth basically said, if my witness isn't available to be in court that day, then I'm going to stay that hearing. So she's probably going to come back with a witness, with somebody that has something to say about the case, that's going to be actually speaking in court in person. And again, that information was sealed, so we don't know what it is, but we do.
That sounds like it's going to be some explosive stuff, man. I'll try to cover it and get that information for you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.
You know, it involves a witness and somebody that will be in court for that next day. Now, David, I'll be honest with you, he looked like he was in really good spirits today. I feel like he actually seemed a lot happier. His hair looked pretty fresh, like he looked like he'd had a decent fresh haircut. He kind of nodded along. He spoke to the judge a couple of the times. The judge basically said, you know, are you willing to change these dates? Are you okay with that? He said, yes, Your Honor. And he was very upbeat. He was very positive. He looked quite happy. Blair Burke agreed to this, basically requested that they do another status hearing on July 6th.
If this somehow he beats this case, man, post in the comments what you guys going to do if David beats this case. But let me know, man.
Silverman couldn't actually do that, so they ended up doing it, booking it in for, I believe, July the 7th. The next status hearing is, so I believe that will be in the follow-up hearing to basically discuss the things we were expecting to hear today, which was rumored to be the potential of whether the death penalty was still on the table, the status of these 40 terabytes worth of content, which allegedly includes a lot of illegal videos. That was the rumor. That's what they were saying was going to be discussed. So I feel like that was interesting. And the judge actually offered David a continuous prelim, which she explained what that was, basically saying that you have the right to request your preliminary hearing within 10 days of, I think it was within 10 days of today. Are you willing to waive that right so that we can do it when it all makes sense for us on July the 21st? He said he was okay with that, and the judge said, look, you're entitled to a continuous prelim where basically I will prioritize this case over all other cases. I'll do this case first thing every day, and then any other cases I can fit in after that, but I'll have to prioritize your case. But basically said, would you mind waiving your right to that, and we'll do it when it makes sense for, you know, yourself, all of the lawyers and stuff like that. And he said, yes, Your Honor, in a very upbeat tone. He looked happy. He nodded along. He was looking into the crowd. I didn't catch his eye, but, you know, he was looking into the...
If it was me, I want that case done as soon as possible. Get me out of this stinky-ass jail, man.
crowd for the first time. A lot of the other times he looked scared. It actually looks like he's kind of used to, you know, being up in that stand. Well, he wasn't on the stand, but he was sat there with his lawyer in the courtroom. And interestingly enough, he was kind of sat off to an angle this time. So he was much more kind of facing the courtroom. The past few times, he was sort of off to an angle. So imagine I'm sat in the crowd. David's lawyers are sat in the bench in front of me facing the judge who's in front of us. And then David was kind of sat off to the side, sideways. So he could sort of see the judge to his right, the crowd to his left, his lawyer to his left. It was interesting. It seemed way more casual today, and he seemed way more confident. So they were originally going to have this June 29th date. That's now been vacated. July 7th has been confirmed for the next status conference. So we were expecting to hear some big new information today. What we ended up hearing was that there are these kind of secret sealed discussions going on. A witness is going to be brought into the court for the preliminary hearing on July 21st, which I think is going to be...
They got this case sealed tight and ain't leaking nothing. Making no mistakes.
Major. Now, David was very respectful. He spoke to the judge kindly. It was crazy. I just realized I'm frazzled today. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really tired. We got up to get to the courthouse for the 8:30 a.m. start, which is, for me, that's pretty early. But anyway, David basically sat in the court for an extended period. And what was interesting is, like, everyone kind of left the court, but this time, kind of surprisingly, David was basically sort of just sat there for a while, and I just kind of lingered around as long as I could in the courtroom to just see what was going on. And I'll be honest, I feel like he had a very interesting attitude and disposition. He kind of looked very relaxed. He looked bored. He was kind of, I don't know if you ever seen somebody sitting around, they're kind of going like, no word of a lie. He was sat in the courtroom just like...
Dude's a clown. He's not even in his right state of mind. That dude, he's cooked.
After that, and it really surprised me because I've never, ever seen this guy look so relaxed. Even in some of his interviews and footages and vlogs from before he got arrested, I haven't seen this guy look so relaxed, so chilled out. He was just up, damn near kicking his feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, been stressed out months and months with that stuff on his back. So now that the cat's out and stuff, you know, he sees his fate.
He's not the tallest guy, damn near kicking his feet off the back of the chair. I mean, that's just the vibe that he was giving. But he looked way more relaxed. He smiled at his lawyers. He sat there in the courtroom for a while. He spoke to Blair Burke and everybody for quite an extended period of time. And, you know, it took a while for them to actually take him out of the courtroom. Damn near everyone but me and a couple of people that I was with and a couple of lawyers were still in the courtroom. They was trying to get us out of there. But I was trying to see what David's got going on. He sat here talking about... It was actually a little bit eerie, to be honest with you. So, yeah, the fact is that, you know, basically I would say that it does seem like something big is coming on July the 21st. I think it is going to be pretty major. And I don't know what this witness is going to be brought here to do. I don't know if they're going to be brought out to maybe give some takes as far as some of the evidence. I don't know if it's going to be an expert witness. I can't confirm for sure that they said this, but I feel like the way that they were talking about this witness, obviously it was sealed, but they were talking about, you know, making sure this person was available, sort of checking their availability. I don't know for sure, but it almost felt to me, the way they were talking about them, that perhaps this was going to be someone from law enforcement, somebody official, not a victim, not, you know...
So there's probably some kind of alibi.
Witness testimony in that sense, but I think perhaps maybe it would be someone from law enforcement that will be kind of like presenting some of the evidence that they found, making it very clear like what they have going forward. And again, I don't know for sure. Obviously, I'm still learning how kind of the legal process works over here, but perhaps when they get to, you know, those discussions about whether or not the death penalty should still be on the table, maybe we're going to see some law enforcement there talking about, you know, some details about the crime that may make him eligible for that kind of treatment. So all I'll say is that he definitely had a very confident disposition today. Never seen him looking so confident as I've seen him today. I feel like he was looking very shook, very...
He done saying like 10 times how comfortable he is, man. Jesus.
Scared, very kind of like timid. I don't know whether maybe he's used to being in court. I didn't actually make it to the last trial date, or what, not trial, but the last court date. I didn't actually make it to the last one. So I wonder whether now he's been in that courtroom a few times, he's kind of getting used to this situation. He's getting a little bit more relaxed. I mean, I swear, the way he was just like... I was very, very surprised, just the way that he was behaving and a level of relaxation that I was not expecting from him, even at this point in the game, having, you know, 3, 4 or 5 court dates that he has now had. Also, what was interesting, we ended up getting moved to a much bigger courtroom. Honestly, it low-key looked like the courtroom they had the OJ trial in. I don't think it was the exact same courtroom, but it was a much bigger courtroom. I was thinking there was a lot more people in the public gallery, a lot more press today. I think things are picking up and people are kind of you know, getting to know about this case a little bit more, and more people are coming to observe. So it did make.
All right, tell me what you guys think so far. You know, the situation. You think David's getting out? Or you think he's gonna stay in there? Drop the comment, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next.